we'll go to questions for Alex and Braylon, and then we'll come back to Coach. So
Yeah, just thrilled to be able to beat a program of UCLA's caliber, coached by not only Mick, who's one of the great coaches in the game, but just one of the best staffs too. And obviously we're fortunate, that maybe their best player doesn't play in the game, and we get Silas back, and obviously Silas gutted it out before he asked minute restriction. It was 20, and we went a little bit over that. But I just thought this game was all about Tarris's workman-like performance. Braylon stepping up, big time performance as a freshman in a big spot, and then just the greatness of the man next to me. Just should be celebrated at all corners of the media, and I know he's gonna start. Look, he's getting uncomfortable right now. But yeah, I mean, this man's greatness and what he's done in college basketball the 4 years. I mean, like literally every outlet should be doing a story on this man and just his career in college. It's no one's been better in college sports the last 4 years in terms of being a winner. So thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Coach.
first two questions will be right up front here.
Thanks. Thank you, Coach.
These are for the student athletes, please.
Alex, on that note, headed back to the Sweet 16, just how does that feel? What's your initial thoughts and going into this game? What were your thoughts?
It's amazing. I mean, just to be a part of the Sweet 16 is a blessing. I mean, every time you win in this tournament is just the feeling gets better and better. I mean, it's unbelievable. So to be going to the Sweet 16, it's a blessing. I know everyone on the team's super happy, and a great thing is we get another week with this team. We get another week just to continue to practice, continue to compete, and really just be together.
Alex, you seem to, Dave Borges, Hearst Connected Media, you seem to play with an extra amount of determination tonight, as much as you've played all your whole career. It almost seemed, especially in that 14-0 run, it almost seemed like, again, I know you probably don't like hearing this all the time, but facing the end of a career, you kind of were determined not to let it end, I guess, right?
I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, I definitely don't want my career to end, so doing everything in my power to help lead this team to make sure that happens and just get the win, do anything possible to get the win, whether it's my night or someone else's night, just help contribute and lead. So, it's a motivating factor for myself, and, I ultimately came back here to win. Every time I've had a decision to come back, I've come back just wanting to win and really help this team out. So, but also just enjoying every second that I have in a UConn jersey.
We're going to go to the far side, row 2.
Michael Longo, Capital Sports Audio for Alex. What you did in that second half, was it something you kind of imposed your will, or did it kind of come in the flow of the game of what you did in the second half? Was it part of you doing this, or stepping up, or just in the flow of the game?
I think it's just in the flow in the game. I think just really reading what the defense gives. I mean, so much attention was on Tarris Reed today that it opened everything else up for the perimeter-wise. So just playing within the flow, playing confidently, trusting my teammates out there, and, really leaning on the experience that I have in this tournament, not being shy of any moment.
We're going to come to this side, standing on this side in front of me.
Justin Williams from The Athletic. For both of you, Alex, you just mentioned the attention Tarris got. Did them doubling him pretty aggressively, was that something you guys were expecting? Did you work that into the game plan?
Yeah, definitely. I think the coaching staff does a great job preparing us offensively and defensively, and we knew heading into it that they were going to pack the paint and really come from the baseline side on Tarris, and we were prepared for that. We knew that it was expected, and just making sure we did the right reads every time.
Next two questions are going to come down here in front, opposite me.
Sam Callahan, Daily Campus. Braylon, took you a little bit to kind of get going with your three-point shot. How did it feel to kind of break that seal and start letting it fly?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to come into every game with confidence. I mean, missing my first 3 shots kind of rattled me a little bit, and then I think just getting all my composure on the bench, and all of my teammates just believe in me. So just coming in, letting it fly with all the confidence in the world. I mean, one of them has to go in, right? So I'm happy to see him stick in the second half or first half.
We'll stay at that end. Yep, row 1.
Hey, Alex, Matt Demick, Daily Campus. Mally hit you on that first 3 at the beginning of the game. What can you say about his impact this weekend? 13 assists, stepping up into the starting point guard role for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, ever since he stepped on campus, he's been one of the best passers I've played with. Just the way he's able to find guys and just really being so unselfish out there that he knows he comes in, he brings so much energy, he plays with a spark, and the way he plays really is a reflection of his personality, just all the moves out there, all the flashy passes that he does, and how tough he is defensively. So, we need Malachi if we want to reach our goals, and he's done a great job of stepping up so far.
We had one down here, row 2, right in front of me.
Hey, Berlin. Carl, Baltimore District Buckets. When you're sitting next to a winner of Alex's caliber, like how much of that reflects in the confidence that you were able to show tonight in the game that you had?
Yeah, I mean, I think just having him on this team and having the experience in this tournament, I think he can just take us wherever we need to go. And I mean, we all have the confidence with him, and he's our leader. So we all look up to him. He holds the standard with this program, and I mean, yeah, he's unbelievable tonight. So keep going where he needs us to go.
Last question for the student athletes, front row 1 right here in front of me.
Joe Root of Hartford Current. Alex, I know you don't want to think about the fact that your career could end with a loss, but does that thought creep into your mind at all? Has it creeped into your mind at all?
No, not at all. I'm so focused on trying to win every single game and just try to do my part for this team to help this team be successful. So I'm not going into a game thinking about what if we lose, because if I do that, that's just the worst mentality to have entering a game. So really going in there, just doing everything to win, thinking about winning nonstop, and just helping this team out.
Alex and Braylon, thanks. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Good luck next weekend down in D.C. Let's go. Again, UConn locker room is open. UCLA locker room also is open at this time. We'll start taking questions for Coach Hurley. We'll start right here, middle front.
Yeah, I mean, you've coached Alex for almost 150 games now, I think, something like that. Did you see something tonight, even a little extra, a little different with the determination that he, especially in the second half? I mean, did you see something a little different and extra tonight from him?
I think what you saw with AK tonight was a guy who I think in some of those, late season games, some of those losses that were disappointing for us, he left those games with some where he didn't go out with his guns blazing. I think what you're going to see, what you saw, or what you've seen in this NCAA tournament is a guy that's attacking the game. He's aggressively looking for all of his shots. He's working his way to the ball. He's driving the ball, and I just think that he learned a lot from like that Big East championship game, that game at Marquette, where it's like he left those games not going out on his shield the way a player of his caliber should. So, I think that's the difference. He's not going down without firing all of his bullets.
We'll stay here in the front row.
Dan, towards the end of the first half, you had a couple starters on the bench with a couple fouls, but it felt like Jaden Ross really changed the game in that stretch there. He scored 9 in a row. Just what can you say about what that stretch did for the team?
Yeah, I mean, Jaden's been on this a great trajectory. I think he's been around 25 minutes a game. Recently quite a bit, and today he would have been 25, 27, maybe even higher if he doesn't get in foul trouble. But just we were struggling defensively. He came in and changed that. Obviously, the three was huge, and the free throws, and but just this team needs his athleticism on the court, his size, and you're just seeing a player that's really developing, coming into his own right now.
We're going to go right here in front of me, row 1, and then we'll go across the other way.
Especially with Jalen Stewart out.
Jerry Carino, Asbury Park Press. Dan, this is a real good night for the Big East between you guys and St. John's. What's it mean for the league to have two teams advancing to that stage in D.C. next week?
Yeah, it's. I think it speaks to the quality of what us and St. John's are this year. I think they're a great team. I think we're a great team. I think it was much needed. I think with coming off of a three bid year. Obviously, Seton Hall was close. I mean, they did their part in the non-conference. Seton Hall really got hurt by the overall league this year. Shaheen did a great job. Shaheen just had no help by the conference this year. He should have been in this tournament based on what he did in the non-con. But I just think us and St. John's are two of the best teams in the country. And, I guess it we obviously both hope for, a meeting in D.C., a fourth meeting. But, I guess it stinks a little bit that they threw us both in the same region. It feels like the combination of St. John's being underseeded as well as putting us both in the same region. I don't want to get myself in trouble with the selection committee, or the NCAA, but I'm not a rule breaker, so. I can't make stuff up on me, but yeah, it'll be a live building. It's probably a little bit early, but obviously I think we've got to try to support each other. It's pretty brutal on Twitter, I think, and social between our fan bases, but I think we got to kind of try to come together on Friday night against our opponents, so that then we could have a bloodbath on Sunday.
Front row on the other side.
Coach Sam Callahan, Daily Campus. Obviously, great to have Silas back, but just talk about Malachi and what he's done this past weekend. It's just been real impressive. In the starting lineup.
He saved us. He saved us. I already talked about what I think of Furman. Furman's a heck of a team, but just 32 minutes with the pressure that their guards put on you. Guarding Dent. Guarding Clark, guarding Perry, that's not easy. Having to switch on to Daly because we were switching some things, and just his toughness, his will, his ability to take care of the ball, get guys. He got guys great shots, and he was just stabilizing. Him and Silas today were great for one field goal between the 2 point guards. That's where numbers lie. Their impact was huge defensively and taking care of the ball.
We'll do 2 final questions. First one's on the opposite side standing. Jonathan, just raise your hand. Yep.
Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer. Dan, you've spoken a lot here about what the quality of obviously this game was. What does it say about the resoluteness of your guys that you really stepped on the gas toward the end there and then put it away?
Yeah, the thing about UConn is, I think the first round games are scary. The uniform's heavy in the first round. I've experienced it. Again, I throw out the Indianapolis bubble one. That was a mess. There was a lot of bad things going on there. So I'm going to say in 22, it's wearing a UConn jersey in the first round is heavy. When we get out of the first round, we become very dangerous because when Huskies get out of the first round, they start believing that a run is coming. And I just think you saw, obviously the team feed off of the level that Alex was playing at. When a 2-time national champion has got that look in his eye and is making those type of shots and plays, I think that's where the group then was able to put the game away.
We're in the back row. Just raise your hand. Yep. Last question.
Hey, Coach. Tuck Clay Basket under review. Earlier in the season, towards the end of the big conference play, you talked about the defense not being where it needed to be. You played a UCLA team that's one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation. You were able to take them off the three-point line. What worked for your defense, and how close is your defense to where it needs to be in your eyes?
Part of our problem, the reason, and listen, 31-5 is pretty good. Anytime 30-plus wins, you've had a great year, or at least a very good year. So, but we've had some inconsistency at the defensive end of the court. I think the guys were able to, I think, follow the game plan. I think for us, we were, I think where they get you and where they were so good on offense is when Dent is probing with the dribble. We were kind of willing to let him, be a shooter and more of a scorer tonight, and obviously finished with 9 assists. So, but I think we were able to take away some of those threes that they get when he's just probing, and help starts to get sunk in, and he just starts spraying that ball around. So I think we had pretty good discipline, that way. Obviously we had trouble with Booker making threes as a center, but for the most part, the guys were able to blanket the three-point line better than we have been.
All right, Coach, appreciate it.
Thanks.